So, you've got this big project and think, maybe ChatGPT can help me out. But soon you find out that ChatGPT struggles with the really tough stuff. It's like ChatGPT is a bit behind the times. Not knowing what's happening in the world right now, and multitasking, forget about it. You have to piece everything together yourself. And the really smart tasks, higher level thinking and creativity aren't exactly ChatGPT's strong suits. Plus, if you're looking at a big project, ChatGPT might not keep up, especially if you're asking for something really long, since ChatGPT can't really handle things much longer than 500 words. Let's be real, ChatGPT is cool and all, but when it comes to more complex tasks, you're kind of on your own, since for the complex stuff, fine-tuning your prompts for ChatGPT to make it do what you want costs more time than just doing it yourself. But what if there was something better, something that took ChatGPT and supercharged it to work on those tricky projects? That's where CrewAI comes in. What's CrewAI all about? First of all, shout out to João Moura, who developed and keeps developing CrewAI as an open source project on GitHub. Think of CrewAI as that dream team you've always wanted. This isn't just another chatbot. It's like assembling your dream team of assistants, each equipped with ChatGPT and access to all the stuff on the web from today, using their own unique expertise and ChatGPT fine-tuning skills for tackling those big brain-busting projects. So, let's look at some of ChatGPT's big limitations. With CrewAI, you will basically get rid of most of these limitations, while barely having to do any work yourself. CrewAI takes ChatGPT to the next level, giving it access to the latest info from the web and customizing it for your project. Whether it's putting together a travel itinerary, coding a video game, putting together investment advice, or preparing your next Instagram posts, CrewAI has got you covered. Imagine having a team of experts, each making ChatGPT smarter with up-to-the-minute info from the web. This isn't just about using ChatGPT, it's about making it better, tailoring it with detailed expert knowledge to find solutions that really hit the mark. But putting together a team like this by yourself? That sounds like a lot of work, and it will probably cost you more money than you are able to spend right now. That's where CrewAI steps up. It brings together a virtual team of specialized AI agents, each ready to boost ChatGPT with their own expertise and the latest data from the web. So, we just got hyped about CrewAI, right? It's like hearing you've got a ticket to the coolest show in town. But then, it hits you. Hold on, do I need to be some kind of coding wizard to use this? I get it. That's what I first thought too. You're probably thinking, this sounds awesome, but also like it might require a computer science degree or something. And let's be honest, not all of us want to spend hours upon hours learning to code from scratch, right? We've got ideas, projects that we're passionate about, and we don't want to get bogged down in the technical weeds. You see, CrewAI is designed with us in mind. You don't need to be a programming guru to make the most out of CrewAI. If you've got a handle on the basics of Python and can craft a clever agent description in plain English, you're golden. I would say, if you've ever read and run a basic Python script and know how to make ChatGPT do what you want it to, you will be fine. The CrewAI agents will be doing the heavy lifting. CrewAI is for those who have big ideas and think, I wish I could afford to hire a team to help me execute on my ideas. So, let's delve into some practical examples. Here are some example crews that have been set up already by João, the developer of CrewAI. All of the examples can be found on João's GitHub, which I will link in the description. The Stock Analyst Crew. This particular crew specializes in aggregating and interpreting stock market data to provide actionable insights. By harnessing diverse sources of financial reports and market trends, it generates concise recommendations on buying, selling, or holding stocks. What distinguishes this crew is its ability to process vast amounts of data efficiently, delivering comprehensive analyses in a fraction of the time it would take a human analyst. The Trip Planner Crew. Imagine planning a vacation tailored precisely to your preferences, without the tedious research. The Trip Planner Crew automates this process, offering personalized itineraries based on your interests and budget. This crew evaluates various factors, including destinations, activities, and logistical details, to curate an experience that aligns with your expectations. It exemplifies how CrewAI can transform the planning process into a streamlined, enjoyable task. The Game Builder Crew. For those interested in game development, the Game Builder Crew presents an intriguing application of CrewAI. By simply describing your vision for a game, this crew translates your ideas into functional code. Beyond initial development, it iteratively refines and enhances the game based on testing and feedback, showcasing the adaptive and creative capabilities of Crew AI in a development context. By examining these examples, we gain a deeper appreciation for Crew AI's role in facilitating complex problem solving across various domains. It's important to recognize that these scenarios are within reach for users with foundational Python skills and the ability to articulate their project goals clearly. So let's actually look at how Crew AI works and get an actual crew running together. In the interest of time, I will not get into dependencies and environment setup here. There are plenty of resources online, both on Google and YouTube, so I don't want to waste time on it. If you are having trouble with it, leave me a comment and I can make a video on that in the future. The first thing we want to do is think of a way to assemble our crew as we would in real life. For that, you first need to decide on the type of crew you want to assemble, or what Crew AI calls the process. Currently, Crew AI supports two types of processes: sequential task execution and hierarchical task execution, but more complex processes like consensual and autonomous are being worked on. An example of a sequential process would be a researcher and a writer, where the researcher hands off the output of his research to the writer, who then writes a blog post or newsletter with the research provided by the researcher. A hierarchical process simply means building a crew with a chain of command. So basically, one of your agents becomes the manager of all the other agents and can delegate tasks to his subordinates and analyze their results and put it all together. To get you started as quickly as possible, I will just walk you through one of the easiest setups, so you can already get experimenting with Crew AI. If you want other processes or crew setups covered in the future, drop me a comment. So I'm going to show you how to set up a crew with a simple example of a crew that is writing a job description for a client company. Imagine you're a recruiting company and you have a client that wants a job description written for a particular position, and you can define a crew that does this for all of your clients. So for each overarching goal that you define, the first thing you have to do is define the subtasks necessary to achieve that goal and define the agents necessary to execute these tasks. Let's say the overarching goal is writing a job description. The subtasks might be: research the company culture, do an industry analysis for that company, research the role requirements, draft the job posting, and then review and edit the job posting. You might have a crew of 3 people, so you can imagine them as actual people that you can hire that have access to ChatGPT and Google and so on, and can do this job for you. You might define a research agent that takes over the first 3 tasks. So research company culture, industry analysis, and research requirements. That agent has access to the web and Google search, so they can just look at the company website, for example, and also search Google. The research agent can then hand off the result of their research to the writer agent, and the writer agent is tasked with drafting the job posting. They again have access to the web, Google, and they can read files, because we want to provide an example job posting for them to build that draft off of. And then lastly, the writer agent will hand off the draft to the review agent, who will then review and edit the job posting with, again, the same tools. This is an example of a sequential process. So each agent will produce some output that will then be handed off to the next agent, and the final agent will output the final result, which is then the job posting that is the overarching goal. Crew AI also allows other types of processes, like hierarchical processes, where you have a manager that can give tasks to different agents working in parallel and then review all of their work and put the final answer together for you. But I'm going to stick to the sequential process for this video. If you want to see an example of the more complicated but more powerful hierarchical process, I can do a video on that in the future. Drop me a comment and I can do that for a future video. Okay, so as I just explained, we are creating a job posting for one of your clients. And basically what you have to do is define the crew that is going to perform the task for you, the subtasks of the main task, all the agents in the crew, and how they're going to work together. So it's fairly simple. You just need to understand this basic file structure and be able to read some Python code, but really no coding is really needed. You just need to be able to give instructions to your agents in English. So in the main.py file, you always have to have a main.py file and a agents.py file and a tasks.py file, which defines the agents, the tasks, and the general process. Here you import your .env file, which has your API keys for OpenAI and
Serper. Serper is our Google search API that we're going to use to do Google searches. In the beginning, we define some context for the job, which is basically every company that we want to write a job posting for, the company domain, the hiring needs, and the specific benefits for the job posting. So you might want to reuse this crew for future job postings for different clients. And every time we run the crew, we can just specify these 4 things on the command line, and it will run the job with these 4 answers in mind and create a different job posting for different jobs. Then we call our 3 agents. We define them in the agents.py file. We'll get there in a second. And then we define the 5 tasks at hand for these agents. We'll also get there in a second. And then we define the crew and pass on the agents into the crew and the tasks to be done. By default, the agents will work on in a sequential process. But if you want to run a hierarchical process, you just have to specify it when you instantiate the crew here. And lastly, you just kick off the crew. I'll show you how to run this after going through the other files, but it's fairly easy. So first, we're going to look into the agents. Here we define the agents. And as I said, you don't really need to do a lot of coding. Actually, you just need to copy and paste these templates and change instructions in English, in written English. So up here, you define the tools that are necessary for the agents to execute their tasks. We're going to use just 3 tools: the web search tool, which comes out of the box, or all 3 come out of the box in crewai tools, which you need to install. There's the web search tool. There's the Serper dev tool, which is just a Google search tool. That's what you need the Serper dev API key for. And the file read tool. The file read tool is to read the example job description that we pass on to the crew. So this is the example job description, and this is just to use as a template for your job description. It will ignore all the actual text, but just to give an overview of what the job posting should look like. So let's get back to the agents. And here you define the agents that are supposed to do this job for you. So as I showed before, you have 3 agents. You have the research agent, the writer agent, and the review agent. And for each of them, all you need to do is in English or define these 3 agents and explain to the LLM. So for example, imagine you were talking to ChatGPT and describing to ChatGPT what kind of agent they're supposed to do to execute your task at hand. So the first role is the research analyst, and then you describe the goal for that research analyst. So the goal is to analyze the company website and provide a description to extract insights on culture, values, and specific needs. And you can also train that agent to become a certain person by providing a backstory. So for example, that agent is an expert in analyzing company cultures and identifying key values and needs from various sources, including websites and brief descriptions. So again, just think of giving really good prompts to ChatGPT to describe to ChatGPT what kind of assistant you want ChatGPT to be right now to give you the answers you want. We do the same thing for the writer agent. We define the job description writer role, give it a goal, use insights from research analysts to create a detailed, engaging, and enticing job posting, and a backstory, skilled in crafting compelling job descriptions that resonate with the company's values, and so on. And for each of the agents, we also need to pass on tools that it's allowed to use. So in our case, the web search tool and the Serper dev tool, which again is just a Google search tool. For the writer agent, we also needed to give it the file read tool because it needs to be able to read the job description example file to base its job posting on. And then lastly, we have the review agent. And again, just in English, review and editing specialist, give it a go, review the job posting for clarity, engagement, grammatical accuracy, and alignment with the company's values, and so on. Pass the tools it's allowed to use to the review agent. And lastly, a backstory that defines the type of person that you want to execute this task. Verbose equals 2 just means give us very detailed output when we run the crew, which you're going to see later. So lastly, we're going to go to the tasks. And the tasks, again, it's very easy. You just need to basically copy this template and change the task names, the context that you pass on to the tasks, and the description of the tasks in English. That's all you need to do. So you define a task that you give it a description to. So the first task is research company culture. And basically, as if you were talking to ChatGPT and giving ChatGPT really detailed prompts in English, you're just telling it what to do. So here we pass the agent supposed to do the task into the task and some context that is based on the answers to the prompts on the command line, so the company description and the company domain, because we want the agent to go online and actually research the company. So it goes to the company website and actually researches details about the company. And that's what we're telling it to do here. Analyze the provide company website and the hiring manager's company domain at company domain. With this description, focus on understanding the company's culture, values, and mission. Identify unique selling points and specific projects or achievements highlighted on the site. Compile a report summarizing these insights, specifically how they can be leveraged in the job posting to attract the right candidates. And then you give it an expected output. So a comprehensive report detailing the company's culture, values, and mission, along with specific selling points, and so on. So the output of this will then be passed on to the next agent. Then we define the other tasks in the same fashion. So we have the second task, research role requirements, giving it to an agent to execute with the context of the hiring needs. And again, we just in plain English, we describe what the agent is supposed to do based on the hiring manager's needs, pass in the hiring needs, identify key skills, experiences, and so on. And an expected output, a list of recommended skills, experiences, and qualities for the ideal candidate. The fourth one is draft a job posting. So here we give it to another agent with the company description, hiring needs, and specific benefits. And again, in plain English, describe what this agent is supposed to do with an expected output. And the same for reviewing and editing the job posting. The context provided here, and then just in English, tell them what to do for this particular task and the expected output. In this case, we also have an output file, which is the actual job posting, which goes into jobposting.md, which will just appear in the same folder where you run the crew. And lastly, the industry analysis task, same thing. Give it some context, company domain and company description, and then describing the task in plain English and giving it an expected output and the agent supposed to solve this task. So now let's go ahead and run the crew on the command line. So let's now run the crew and have it generate a job posting for Tesla. So this is my idea. Let's see what files we have here. So those are all the files, the main file, the tasks file, the job description example, and the agents file. So let's go ahead and run the crew. So all we have to do is type python main.py. What is the company description? Tesla is an EV car manufacturer. The company domain is tesla.com. What are the hiring needs? So let's get an actual job description. I think there was Python generalist for the Tesla bot. I think that was an actual job posting. What specific benefits do you offer? 60 days, paid time off, and a free purple giraffe. And now crewai is getting started and will give us output along the way to tell us what it's doing. So the crew is now done, and it actually did a lot more than I expected it to do, because last time I ran this from my old employer, and it was very quick because there's not a lot of information on the internet to research for my crew. But now it actually went on a lot of websites because I ran it for Tesla, and it took about a half hour. And I think it went through hundreds of websites to research Tesla company culture and job types and so on. But this is basically what it came up with. Let me show you the resulting job description. So this is the job description it came up with. Python generalist, Tesla bot, job posting. At Tesla, we're accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, revolutionizing the automobile and energy industries with our electric vehicles and energy products. Our culture is driven by a commitment to innovation, collaboration, and respect for individuals. As a member of our team, you contribute to groundbreaking initiatives and work with some of the industry's brightest minds. And then it did all of this, and I didn't give it any of this information. It found out where Tesla sits. It found out what a Python generalist does. It actually went to the actual career site of Tesla and looked for similar job postings, as well as other job postings on similar positions at other companies. And it gave me feedback all along the way. So here's some responsibilities. Develop and enhance Python training infrastructure for efficient, robust training processes. Again, I didn't tell it to do any of this. It figured it out on its own. Requirements, practical experience in Python and or C+ programming, which it found out online. Experience with training frameworks, PyTorch, all of this stuff I didn't tell it to do. And it even came up with compensation and so on. So this is actually very exciting. It was as I said, much quicker for my old employer because it was a smaller company. It took about a minute back then. Now it took around half an hour, but it actually went to hundreds and hundreds of websites. So you can scroll through everything it did, and it actually did a lot of stuff. And sometimes it got some errors when looking for websites and so on. But overall, very, very impressive. So that's it, guys. Running this new crew took us about 30 minutes or $5 of OpenAI credits. To be fair, the crew went a bit overboard with researching Tesla. When I ran it for my former employer, it took around 1 or 2 minutes and under $1 of OpenAI credits, just because there was just less to research, I guess. So you can fine tune your instructions to the crew a bit here. Overall, I'm very impressed. The crew really went out there and researched Tesla, its company culture, researched similar positions at other companies, the EV market, and so on. I think the same amount of work would have taken a crew of humans a few days, assuming, of course, they had never heard of Tesla or Python or EVs, because the crew had to learn about all of that first. So you would probably spend a couple $100s on this task. I think the task was quite straightforward though, and I think the difference will be even more extreme for a more complex task, especially when we create a hierarchical crew with more complex tasks. If you want to see me do that in a future video, leave me a comment. If you want to get started on using crewai but don't know how to get an OpenAI key or how to clone a GitHub repository, I've got you covered. Check out my other videos on this channel. I also have Python tutorials for beginners, for those that need to refresh their coding skills. Thanks for watching and see you next time.